my channel Evolve with One Nat. I am on my way home. For those of you guys that were with me this morning, and for those of you guys that are new here and have no idea about my life, I'm a professional intuitive empath, and I channel messages, I work with people, I do coaching, counseling, all of those things. What I will tell you is I've been getting some messages today. I started out the day, if you go back and you listen to the last reading, No Ordinary Love, that I just put up a few minutes ago. I have several readings on my channel about that, some that are readings that I've done, and channel that are decoding messages and whatnot. Well, this one today was inspired by me listening to one of my favorite readers here. Her name is Cockfrost, the Ghetto Nut. Cockfrost is in a cold bird. I love it so much. But anyway, so she's fantastic, and I was watching a divine masculine reading, which is not something that I normally do, but she put trigger warning in it, and my spidey senses were tingling, all puns intended. And bestie, you know what I'm saying with the spidey senses, and my spidey senses were tingling, and I knew that I needed to go and listen to it. And so I did, and about a quarter of a way through, I said that she said something about someone's divine masculine misses them, and I'm hearing the song right now. She channeled the song No Ordinary Love, and I knew that was specifically for me, even though I have no intention of having any reconnection with my divine masculine, whatever the case may be. You all are on different journeys, so I begrudge no one their journey or their, intuition about what they should do. That is not my position here with you. My position here with you is to tell you the story. So I went back after I left Trader Joe's and I listened to the rest of it as I've been driving home, and I'm almost home. And so I won't keep you long, but essentially the message was this. And it's her most recent divine masculine reading, and it says something about trigger warning in it. I literally don't know what the rest of the title was, because honestly, I gravitate to readings on YouTube and tarot according to the title and according to what I feel. It's never the sign, it's never whatever. And I stopped watching, again, divine masculines long ago because I don't care. I just don't care. But anyway, this one was for me to hear, and here's why. I'm going to give you the abbreviated version, though I highly recommend that you go listen to it if you are on this journey and you have had this atrocious thing happen to you. Throughout it, she talks about the fact that ancestors are riding, apparently, and she was using her cards, which I do have a deck of, and in them there is a card called Tombstone, and Tombstone is representative of death, which is in the tarot, which would be transformation, rebirth, ancestors, all the rest of it. And she vividly paints the picture of ancestors riding and saying, I'm going to be here to the year 3000, which is a quote from a rap song. It's very intricate. If you watch The Ghetto Nun, you'll get all of the colloquial kind of references and euphemisms and stuff. But the point is this: if you're not into her and you're not watching it and you don't have an hour and whatever it was. Also, P.S. a little tip here, pro tip, I speed up everything I listen to. I talk fast, so I listen fast, and that's just for me. It may not work for you, but I absolutely, literally, I never listen to anything at regular speed, not even myself back when I'm listening, okay? So I always speed everything up, times 2, or maybe by 1.75. There's a settings button on everybody's YouTube, and you can do that too. So if it's a long reading, you can get it done in like a half an hour. Anyway, I've got a lot of things to do in a day, so I don't always have time to listen to a full hour and a half of something. Anyway, so I was listening to it, and she was saying that someone was either tricked into believing or treating a divine feminine really badly, and then the card of the Goonies came out of her deck, and she was talking about how that person was treated badly, but they were like the Goonies, they were the real leaders, whatever the case may be. There's a lot of switching back and forth. If you're not used to watching a reading, she was talking about the divine masculine, but she was also talking about the divine feminine, and she switches it. She said, or the divine feminine watching here, this could be you. At the beginning of each of her readings, she says, hey divine masculines, what's up? And hey divine feminines, because I know it's mostly you up in here, booskies, meaning she's talking to the divine feminines that are cross-watching, which is a thing that we do in readings, to see what's going on with their masculine. Again, I'm out of that business, but today my angel said listen, and I did, and I'm glad I did, because what I heard was confirmation of everything I predicted and everything that I knew would be true, things that I never heard a reading about, in order to tell that person and to tell myself and what my angels and ancestors told me. Specifically, they were talking about in that reading for me, my father. And you know how every reader will say, take it how it resonates. Well, it resonated with me. It was like she was talking directly to me. She was like, someone has an ancestor here, and da 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 da. And she goes into it deeply, and she was like, and they're pissed about what happened to you, and they're now coming after the kids of the people that harmed you. And unfortunately, even though it makes me sick for the kid that I loved in that situation, that belonged to and born from my distorted masculine person who shit on me, that kid is getting the repercussions. Just like the Bible says, the sins of the mother and the father will be visited upon the child. And unfortunately, my angels made me very aware in this wild rabbit chase that I walked my bestie through when it happened. And she was part of it too. It's funny, I got messages about him at the beginning of December. Something happened in the middle of December. I got confirmation of it in January, and I understood it has begun. And it broke my heart because I would wish that on no one. And I tried to tell her to clean up her act. Mind Divine Masculine showed up in a woman's body, distorted masculine, whatever. And I tried to tell her, like, you got to stop this, because this is not just going to affect you, dummy. This is going to affect your kid, who I actually love, who apparently you forgot you loved when you were drunk and doing dumb shit. So I didn't have any, I didn't feel anything for her, but I felt terrible because I wanted to protect her kid. And I knew that she didn't understand the ramifications of the spirituality that she had got herself involved with. And one of the things that Cockfrost, Miss Ghetto Nun, the Ghetto Nun says, is someone's divine masculine or feminine, because she switches it back and forth. She says someone didn't understand the ranking, the spiritual ranking that someone had, and they treated them atrociously and didn't understand how they were ranked. And I know that sounds crazy to say, right? Like, how will we talk about ourselves in ranking? But it's something that was given to me over the years that I understood very clearly. Was she very much thought she was above me, and it was actually a racial thing too. So there was a lot of like layers for our situation, but actually she didn't understand what my ancestors do. It's not even me that's ranked above her spiritually. It's my ancestors that were like, you play with the wrong one, B. And a lot of you guys have that same protection. You may not know it or be aware of it completely, and you may think that you do not have that level of protection, but you do. And your angels want you to know that. Ooh, I love when I get an audible confirmation. Whenever that happens, guys, that's your angels and ancestors saying, yes, listen to this too. It applies to you. So you have people that are protecting you, that value you, and that care about you, that know your ranking, and that think that you outrank whoever tried you. And in the reading, the Ghetto Nun goes so deep into the fact that the person feels scared. They feel like something's looking over their shoulder. They got involved with spiritual work. There's demonic forces in their house. Anybody that's been watching my channel knows I've talked about all of this for the last couple of years, and it was before anybody ever gave me a reading. I downloaded their fears, and I downloaded the reality and the truth, and I predicted it to them before it ever started to come to fruition. They thought I was a fool. They thought it was a game. They thought I didn't know what I was saying. They thought that I was just complaining. They thought I was hating when I was warning and I was giving a prophecy. A lot of you guys are in the same position as me. You warned someone and you gave a prophecy and they spit on your face. I had a confirmation of that as I was listening to the end of her message. She was talking about the way that the ancestors were disgusted, and I was driving, excuse me, ooh, yep, regurgitation happening for me. I was driving and I saw a guy who I, for whatever reason, caught his eye, and there was crows flying around me. Crows are messengers and birds of spiritual communication regarding ancestors. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I was watching, and this guy, this is why it matters to get outside, go for a walk, do things, because you get all kinds of messages. But this guy, this big old guy, he didn't look like my ancestor. He was a black guy, but he spit, and it was really gross. I hate spit, guys. It's like a gag reflex immediately for me. But it was a lot, and it was disgusting. I'm sorry to paint you such a vivid picture. I'm almost like gagging thinking about it. And it was at the same time that the Ghetto Nun was talking about how disgusted the ancestors were. And then she said something more afterwards about, stomp on their grave or spit on, I don't know if she said spit on their grave. She said something that I was like, wow, they're giving me visual pictures. And I was like, yeah, my ancestor is disgusted with that person, and they are having retribution and karmic reactions, and they're having all of the things that I knew would happen. And it's something that I said in my last video, where I said I never wished anything on her. I didn't. But see, I didn't know how my ancestors felt. It is so important that you know how loved you are. It is so important that you know that even if you have no one in this life and you think you're an orphan and no one is seeing people bully you or hurt you, that there are entities and angels, and I mean that in a positive way, ancestors and angels that are there to protect you, that know your worth and that value you and will not let anything happen to you, even if it feels like it's happening. And I know now that her and the person that she ganged up on me with and whoever else gang stalked me with her, whether it's her family members, and God forbid, it breaks my heart, even her son, who actually rode for me. I actually pray for him all the time that he can get out and get away from her and actually live his best life and not be trapped in the lie of their family pathology. We all have stuff to break out of. We all have to break out of our ancestry. Even me leaving that divine masculine, quote unquote, my distorted masculine, was me breaking my family pathology. And I want you guys to get the message of this. When I say we break that, not all of us have the same thing. For my kid, who I energetically love, my Mowgli, who is dealing with the ramifications of his father and his mother, he is breaking addiction. He will be breaking out of codependency. He will be breaking out of low vibrational toxic relationships and anger and violence and a lot of things. He has a lot to overcome that both of his parents gave him, and they never tried to fight it. They just leaned right into it, and like the devil invited him in, and they're like, thanks, I'll have a seat, sit for a spell. He will get out of it. He will break out of that hell. I speak that over him. Fuck his everybody around him. Amen. Excuse my language, y'all. I feel a way about that kid. F them. He will make it, even if he's going through a time. If you ever hear this, Mowgli, you're going to be fine. So what I will tell you, though, is that I had to break out of a different thing. For me to break my ancestral curses and patterns, what happened for me is I had to get out of relationships that were toxic and third-partied. Meaning that my father, who is the ancestor who's writing for me, ironically, was notorious for being a womanizer and for being a liar, and he was a narcissist and with this person who wasn't necessarily my man but was a divine masculine energy in my life, and we had a convoluted, complicated relationship, she acted in many ways, in many capacities, and in many levels. She was a lover at a time, she was a bestie at a time, she was a friend, she was a frenemy, she was an enemy, she was a transformer, she was a shapeshifter, she was a liar, she was a denier, she was a racist. She embodied a lot of things that I had to break through in order to get to the place where I'm at today. But what I will tell you is the biggest thing regarding my family pathology was women being abused and treated badly and staying in relationships and acting like they didn't see it and turning their head the other way. When I said, fuck her, I broke free. When I said, I see you and what you're doing to me, even though my lesson was given to me covertly. So it wasn't as overt as what my mother went through. It wasn't as direct as the abuse my grandmother suffered with. It was something altogether different. And yet and still, when I broke the generational curse, I said, not today, Satan. Will you treat me this way, triangulate me this way, and abuse me this way to my face and smirk about it? Fuck your silent treatment, fuck your bullshit, fuck your inadequacy, fuck your inability to communicate, fuck your reckless behavior, fuck your self-sabotage, fuck your pious family, fuck your fake Christianity. I bounced out of that bitch. Okay? Sorry for that on a Sunday, but sometimes, as my professor used to say, the vulgarity of the moment calls for the language. That was a fucked up situation I was in, and it was one that my mother was in, and it was one that my grandmother was in, and maybe my grandmother before that. But I said, not today, Satan. And it was very different the way it was given to me. Again, not overtly, covertly, nothing said out loud, very insidious. It tested my psychic skills. The same is true for you. If you're here listening to this and you dealt with a covert bestie or narcissistic ex-friend or a lover or a man or a woman or whatever, there is something that is sewn into your family life that you broke through. You can identify specifically what it is for you. I know what it is for me. I broke free. I refuse to be held down, and I refuse to be lied to my face, and I refuse to be disgraced, and I refuse to be treated like a second-class citizen, no matter what color her skin that she was in, that she thought made her better than the skin I was in. Fuck that. Fuck racism. I decided that it was better for me to leave and leave with my dignity. And that is why my ancestors rode for me. They didn't ride for me after I left. They helped me to leave, and they got my attention. My father, I told you, showed up while I was in her house the last time. So did her mother. And it was really easy for me to define the work that God was doing. When I listened to the ghetto nun give this reading, It was like it was a validation of everything I'd been through, of the fact that someone was so stupid that they got quote unquote duped. Though I have no sympathy for them, because they knew what they were doing. They were cruel and they participated, and they bought many men, many men who wished death upon me, only for being a person who refused not to live radiantly. They don't understand light. Demons never do, but they run and they shudder, but they'll talk about you. And guess who else is talking on the other side? Our ancestors, who said, come on, suit up, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we ride. The karma, divine feminine, has begun. Leave it to your ancestors. They will get the job done. And unfortunately, it's not a small battle that will have to be won. It is war. The ghetto nun said, we'll be here till the year 3000, until those kids can break their generational curses, for the curses that their parents wished upon them by refusing to evolve and to listen. Everyone will be plagued. And it sounds ominous, and it says, why would you say it that way? I can't say it any other way. It is the truth. It is what our ancestors do. Even angels warred and fought. Nothing is as sweet as we think. It's not sweet baby Jesus with the angel wings. That's just in Talladega Nights, ladies. Wake up. Angels have swords that cut. Archangel Michael, anyone? Angels war and they wrestle. You have to fight for your birthright. You have to fight for your understanding. I want you to Google on YouTube what angels really look like. It's multiple eyes. It's quite alien beings. It's not freaking angel wings. It's something otherworldly that would terrify you. Why do you think in the Bible, every time they came, they said, be still and know that I am part of God. Do not be afraid. Do not fear. That is said over and over and over when the angels are near, because they're scary. It's not these allegories and these funny stories and this light and love. That's what we did to make it palatable. But if you want to talk about something otherworldly, you're talking about our angels. I feel a way about it. That passion that just came in me is directly channeled from them. They said, let them know it's not a game. And we do not play with our brethren and our sistren who walk in God's name. And neither do your ancestors. Those people that were insane enough to think that you were easy to try, that you were a doormat to walk over, they loved to see you cry, they wanted to treat you cruelly, they loved to abuse you. Now it is on them. And you keep your hands clean for those many men that wish death upon you. Now they have to deal with angels and ancestors that understand and always knew the truth, that heard the things they said about you when you couldn't actually hear them, even if your psychic energy made sure that you stayed clear of them. She said something prolific, the ghetto nun, in her reading. She said, this is why the breakups happen. It was your protection. This is why the sex stopped. It was deflection. Oh, come on. On this Sunday, with the curse words, I got to give you a message. This is why you felt called to divest from them. This is why you could no longer be around them. This is why you could no longer touch them, sex them, kiss them, or look at them. Come on. That was a word specifically for me. As my angels were setting me free, they said, don't touch her. They said, get out of the car with her. They said, don't be around her. And I didn't listen. I was stubborn, just like some of you. I had to keep going around to see what that energy do, since I wasn't going to see what that mouth and that body do anymore. And they said, this is what that energy do. It almost killed me the last time I was around her. They said, you're not strong enough for the kind of devil she is wrestling with. They said, get away from her. We'll try to help her kid, but this is above you now. She has tampered with our beloved. Oh my God, I felt sorry for her. I still feel sorry for her. You know, when you're getting a reading or you're getting advice and someone says, pray for your enemies, it's right. You know, when you're angry and you're bitter, you won't care. But when you're on the other side, over here, you get it. I pray for her, but I know she won't be spared because she did the crime and now she'll do the time. My ancestor's so funny. I'm looking at someone who's pulling up here who looks like my cousin. Wow. With a big old smile on his face. Hey, cousin Rudy. He is not here. He is far away. But what I will tell you is today, the ancestors ride. I love to see it. Dreads and all. Thank you, God. Today, the ancestors ride. I am protected and I am loved. You know, it's so funny. The person I'm talking about hated dreads. She's going to hate a lot of things that are going to be happening, and the demons that dance through her head. The worms crawl in, the worms crawl out, the worms play pinochle in her snout. That's what I'm hearing. And it's creepy, but it's what she gave. She wanted me to be schizophrenic and to lose my brain. She wanted me to be in the dregs of society. She wanted me to be down badly, and she delighted in it. If it would have worked, she'd be laughing right now. But now she'll understand. And so a lot of the people that violated you, you have ancestors that will always come through. The karma has in fact begun. And for them now, it will not be fun. There will be no more jokes that they tell or stories as they gang stalk. Drake has a line where he says, my enemies send each other the text they can never send me. Ain't that the truth? They can have a group chat about you, but you know who else has a group chat too? Your angels and your ancestors, and they're on their ass. And that's not a group chat I'd want to be in. Everybody that harmed you, Divine Feminine, will pay for their sins. A lot of people are love and light and kumbaya, and that's nice. I'm reality. I'm the blood of Jesus Christ. That was shed brutally. That was not shed nicely. It wasn't a pinprick. It wasn't a stick. It wasn't dialysis. That was torture. Sometimes we're tortured for our purity. We are tortured because people think our sanity is insanity. And it is only when we are on the cross of their choosing do they finally see that maybe we had seen a different reality, and now the night is dark for them. When Jesus hung on the cross, the sun went out. There was an eclipse, total eclipse of the sun. The sun is represented in the tarot for the card of Leo. Seeing things clearly. Royalty, regalness. I don't give a damn what sign you are. We all have every sign in us. And today, my Divine Feminine, you are all Leos. You are all regal. You are all proud. You all were beaten down. And someone forgot that you wore a crown. And maybe you did too. Someone forgot you sit on a throne. And maybe you forgot you were supposed to. But you do. Climb back up, mama. Get back up, Divine Feminine. The sun is shining again. And damn it, don't it feel good? Birds flying high. They really are around me right now. You know how I feel. A hawk in the sky, looking down. It's real. It's a new day. It's a new dawn. And I'm feeling good. I love you guys. Come back and join me next time, and we will continue to evolve together. MT says yes! Yes, yes, indeed. Bye, guys.